Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and this will be my analysis of some of the more popular futures markets out there that traders are interested in. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Very quickly, before I get to the charts, I'm currently running a contest now. It does expire tonight, Friday, January 31st at midnight Eastern time. So you still have time, assuming you're watching this right after I get this uploaded. But I'm running an account where I'm giving away two $150,000 prop firm accounts with Take Profit Trader. So if you're interested, you can either go to claytrader.com/take profit, or just go to Take Profit Trader and use coupon code CLAY, C-L-A-Y, again, C-L-A-Y, which will give you 50% off. So the prices that you see down here, you'll get 50% off of those. And then after you, and this is the important part too, after you make the purchase, email me to Clay at claytrader.com. Again, Clay, C-L-A-Y, at claytrader.com. And then just send me the confirmation email that you made the purchase, and I'll get you registered in the drawing. And then, yeah, you will be eligible for a $150,000 account through Take Profit Trader. One quick clarification here, I will be using the 1 hour time frame. So if you're a beginner, what that means is each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 1 hour's worth of time. So the first market we're going to take a look at is the NQ. And as a reminder, even if you trade the MNQ, they're the same. They're just different, risk profiles. But as far as the patterns and all that sort of stuff, you could apply all this to the MNQ too. So as of now, quite the crazy session here, especially late day as it rolled back over here. And this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the previous video. But if you did, hopefully remember me putting in that trend line right there. And I mean, not patting myself on the back, but the power of charts. Price came down here, and then just a beautiful bounce right off that lower trend line right there. So that'll definitely be a very, I think, watched level going into the next session. And a lot of people watching it, you're going to have the bulls watching it saying, I think the price is going to bounce off there. I can see where they're coming from. You're also going to have bears saying, I think if it falls, it's going to create downside pressure. I can see where they're coming from, and that is why risk management matters. But any sort of break of that trend line, especially if it's a high volume break, no guarantees, of course, but I could see the price very realistically then going down and doing battle and testing that secondary level down there at the 385 mark. So keep an eye on that dynamic. But yeah, everything is going to be, in my opinion, at least revolving around this trend line right here. And do the bulls hold, or do the bears push down through? If the bulls do hold and the price tries to bounce, yes, you do have this 772 area up there as an area of resistance. But before you really put too much emphasis on that, in my mind, it'll now be all about those two moving averages, the pink line being the 200 period moving average, purple line being the 50 period moving average, and more so, can the price actually get back above those areas? Because that's just a common rule within charting. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So overall, though, like I said, very big pullback here. Does that trend line hold going into the next session? We'll see what happens. Next one here, we are looking at the ES and going back to the trend line that we talked about on NQ, how that one actually bounced. Not so here with the ES. The price came down here, has broken through that level. So the main question, at least in my mind, going to the next session is, how much more downside pressure does this generate? Is this thing going to really travel down here and do battle with the 6,005 mark? Very well, in my opinion, at least in the cards now, especially when this was such a high volume break of that line right there. You can see right now, trying to consolidate out, and maybe it does a little bit, but would it be shocking if this thing all of a sudden gets continuation on the downside? I don't think anybody would necessarily be, would be shocked based on that. So I'm going to keep that trend line in mind, just kind of, represent what's been going on here. Now, in the event if the price does all of a sudden snap back upwards, then a lot like the the NQ, before you get to these levels up here of this resistance zone, you're going to have these moving averages right here. 200 period moving average and 50 period moving average, and then you have to deal with this resistance zone again. And that what's makes today kind of so crazy is the price actually was able to finally get up through this resistance zone right here. But then, yes, that afternoon part of the session happened, and it gave up all those gains, and not only all the gains back below the resistance zone, not only all the gains back below the moving averages, it also went back down below that trend line right there. So truly a very bearish, latter portion of the session, and we'll see if that continues into next week. Next one here, the YM, and this one seems to be a little bit different in the sense of the bears that were taking over that much quicker, because not only did this one come down here and check the trend line, so notice all three of these indices did have that trend line. The NQ still is not broke, it's bounced. ES broke, and it's hanging in there, but the NQ, or excuse me, the YM, Dow Jones, did not care. It broke, it came down to that area of support right there, and it kept going. But surprise, surprise, notice right where the price has started to go sideways. the power of charts. Right at that pink line there, the famous, and that's why it's famous, 200 period simple moving average. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of these lines for now as they serve their part. But that'll definitely be the main dynamic here, and this is not some sort of great discovery on my part. A lot of people are going to be watching the same exact dynamic. Can the 200 period moving average hold strong? Are the bulls going to find support here and get some sort of bounce? Or is this just some sort of temporary little kind of breath before the bears take back over to the downside? We'll have to see what happens with it. But as we're seeing here, if the price were to fall down below the pink line, levels begin to space out quite a bit in terms of where the next area of support could be, with the next area right there around the 438 mark. So if 200 period moving average doesn't hold, I could see 438 being a very real possibility on any sort of bounce back upwards. Has been the theme. First key dynamic will be to get above the moving average there, and then after that, you're up at 153. But yeah, definitely a lot more downside pressure on the YM, although to give credit where credit's due, that 200 period moving average is held. Will that carry into the next session? We shall see. We are now going to move into the oil sector and specifically crude oil, so CL here. And very, very interesting dynamic here as we head in the next session. And this will mean a little bit more to those that have watched past ones, but we've been watching that trend line and just how it has been very stubborn. But right now, the price is actually doing battle with it. So the big question in the next session, is this going to finally be some sort of true, genuine breakout? Now, even if it is a breakout, you don't want to get overly excited about it because not that far away, you have the downward sloping 200 period moving average. That's not to say that the price can't break through each of these areas. It is to say that there's still a lot more work that needs to be done on the bulls' part if they're going to make any sort of genuine, attempted turnaround. So keep an eye on that dynamic. And then as far as supports, now that we have more data, I'm going to adjust this level down and call the key area of support. Now, right there at the $72 mark, you can see that's basically where the price stopped there, and then several times here in this past session where the price stopped. So right now, this overall pattern is still in play. I mean, this big old descending triangle. But right now, the price, you got to give credit where credit's due. It's trying to fight up through there. Can it get the break? If it does roll back down, then will this area continue to be able to hold strong? But yeah, as far as just kind of summarizing it, head into the next session, I would just call it this big old descending triangle. And now we're moving into the precious metals, specifically gold, GC, and this one reminds me quite a bit of the YM in the sense of YM, remember, was sitting right at that 200 period moving average. This one is sitting right at the purple line there, the 50 period moving average. So same general idea. Is this going to be strong enough to hold, or is the price going to push down through and the bear is going to take back over? But within the big picture, even with the pullback here, you can still see here, still a very strong overall uptrend. But in the event that 50 period moving average does not hold, want to get one more level mapped out from a potential support area, and that is down here right around that former breakout point of the 2,800 mark. So I'm not saying it'll drop straight down to 2,800, but there's just quite a bit of space between there and then that next key level. So definitely preferably staying above that purple line. But even if the price were to fall below there and go down there from an overarching standpoint, still plenty of room for the price to ultimately build a much higher base. And then in terms of areas of resistance, key dynamic here, right up here around the 2,860 mark. Sure, the price did technically go slightly above it right there. But overall, that's going to be, generally speaking, where the sellers are currently hanging out at. But yeah, got the pullback here, but still within the grand scheme of things, very much so in an upwards momentum movement here. But we'll see what happens with that purple line there. I think that's going to be the linchpin to kind of dictate how the next couple of sessions next week all play out. So that wraps up the video, or that wraps up the analysis. And again, if you want to get into the contest, it expires tonight, Friday the 31st at midnight Eastern time. So go to the link either down in the description box or just go to takeprofittrader.com and be sure to use code CLAY, C-L-A-Y, and then after you make the purchase, you can do any size account you want. Or if you want to, do multiple account purchases, the more purchases you make, the higher your odds of winning. But after you make the purchase, make sure you send me an email to clay@claytrader.com with a confirmation email showing that you purchased, and that way I will get you into the raffle. So that is something that I think could maybe make a very nice week for you next week if you do win that $150,000 account. So thanks for watching. As always, if you appreciate these analysis videos and you're looking to support the channel in a super free and easy way, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help out. So thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great weekend, and make sure you get signed up for the contest.